BYD Auto are up a stonking 60% so far year to date. Having a fantastic few years, taking over, it seems, the EV sector globally. Well, over here in Europe and the UK, I see them all the time now on the streets. They're getting their cars on the ground, adverts everywhere, TV, online. Seem to be taking over the space that was once heavily occupied by Tesla, who seem to be self-destructing at the moment. So is it a great time to be buying into BYD at the moment, and how can you do it? Well, in this video I'm going to show you, wherever you are in the world, how you can get your hands on BYD stock, give you some trade ideas, some options trading ideas there as well, what you can do to get access to them. Also going to take a look at the fundamentals, the other car companies that are, they've got a big spectrum, big broad range of companies, and we're going to look at some probabilities. I'm going to put them through the Quant system, see where the odds say they could be heading next. Also going to look at the charts, come up with some numbers for you, and we'll piece it all together, and then, like I said, give you some trade ideas to finish off. So BYD Auto, are they worth investing, trading right now? Let's find out. So you join me in the BYD global website. This one actually focusing on their cars, their vehicles. We'll have a look in a minute that they're not just a car manufacturer. They cover a lot of other areas as well. But where they come from, where's this meteoric rise? Where did it all begin? Well, sort of very parallel to the growth in China, really, in the time scales that that has achieved its growth as well. 1995, Shenzhen, that's where they come from. BYD started actually as a rechargeable battery manufacturer, and fast forward today, well, they are probably the world's largest EV producer by volume. About 18% of the global market, EV market, in 2024, looking to grow about 60% in sales over. Well, I think they've done that already in the first quarter of 2025 alone. Their presence, like I mentioned earlier in the introduction, they seem to be everywhere, but they're operating in 70 countries across 6 continents and plan to double overseas sales to 800,000 units in 2025. So massive growth plans. Helped with strategic moves, setting up factories in Hungary, Turkey, maybe Germany. That'll help them get around the tariff problem and work their way into the local market, and also the way they manufacture as well. They've got they do their own batteries, semiconductors, software that's going to be cost efficient and supply chain resilient. And notably, BYD's innovation in battery technology, such as, for example, the Blade battery, development of super fast charging systems. They're really in the EV game for a long time. So some good initiatives there that make them a very difficult company to compete against. And as you can see, the car's flicking up on the screen. Like I said, they cover all sorts of different markets. Let's just drop back to the previous page. This is their main sort of, I suppose, global corporate page here. Have a look at the products and solutions, for example. We cover passenger vehicles, commercial vehicles, rail transit, batteries, electronics. A real, future-looking company here. The way everything's moving, electric-wise, they are certainly got their fingers in all the pies. What I didn't realise also was the huge, diverse, sub-brands around the BYD main brand. All different EV car brands, all designed to compete with other types of EV manufacturers, mainstream manufacturers around the world. Denza, Yangwang, Fang Shengbao, Ocean Series, Dynasty Series. Now, just jumping onto Wikipedia here, where I found a list of BYD Auto vehicles. If I scroll down, you'll see what I mean. There's just so many of them. So we've got BYD to start with, covering all types of markets. Just the cars go on and on and on. And then we've got Denza, looking a bit more luxurious here, maybe competing against you like Mercedes-Benz maybe. Yang Wang, very interesting. Sports cars, luxury SUVs. Well, that's got to be like your Range Rovers and your Porsches and Ferraris of the world. Then you got Fang Sheng Bao, looks like a SUV type special EV manufacturer. And then, like I said, we got the BYD brand again down there. It just goes on and on and on. Not forgetting the Ocean series and Dynasty series. So huge pivot in the global market there, covering all the sectors, all the different types. So really, again, reiterating, fingers in every pie. So in terms of market position and competition, well, they're already a significant player as it stands. And in China, BYD got nearly a third of the share of the electric vehicle market as of Q1 25, outperforming big competitors like Geely and Tesla, and globally projected to get about 16% of market share in 2025, so possibly even surpassing Tesla in battery electrical vehicle sales. Tesla's challenges, well, we've all seen them in the news, tariffs, local competition, problems, with Elon Musk, all opened up avenues for BYD's expansion, and BYD's strategic emphasis on affordability, innovation and vertical integration positions them advantageously in the evolving EV market. So just jumping into a page on barchart.com which looks at the analysts' I suppose recommendations, breakdown, price targets for BYD. You can see there the ticker BYDDY in the top left hand corner there. In terms of price targets, they're talking 123 seems to be the target, so about 20% away from where we are at the moment. And in terms of ratings, you can see it's all green there. It's been strong buys for a long time. Only 6 analysts, so not too many there, but like I said, very strong buy recommendations. We've seen the strong growth, 196% over 5 years, and that's reflected in their estimates of about 20% projected price increase. But I want to know really if that's realistic. It has been moving quite a bit this year, as we said, 50-60% up, so they're probably adjusting those recommendations all the time. So I'm going to have a look at the technical analysis next, and then going to take a peek at a quant model that I run here to see what sort of odds probability it thinks it can BYD achieve in terms of price targets over the rest of this year. So I've got 2 charts to show you. First of all, longer term weekly chart. Look, now note the ticker there of BYD Auto. It's BYDDY. That's on the US stock market. Why am I saying that? Because I'm going to look at the Hong Kong based version of the stock in a moment on my Renko charts. But I just want to show you they've got different prices. I'm going to be talking US dollars for this one. Just important to note that difference so you're aware. So let's get into the weekly chart. 5 years of data. I just wanted to show you the real significant growth from over there on the left, March 2020. Really nice up run. And we've seen it, I've plotted the Fibonacci's on it, and it really does like to behave around the Fibonacci sort of lines. As you can see there, it's very technical chart, this one. As you can see, the key lines there, that 61.8% line around $71, and at the bottom there, the 38.2% around $47. So really, following the rules of Fibonacci there. And then when it did break up through the 61.8% Fibonacci there, off it shot up to those recent highs of nearly $110 before just pulling off back. And again, guess what? Down to the next Fibonacci line at about $88, and then again it's just looking to bounce on back towards those highs. Now at the moment the awesome oscillator there giving us a bearish signal, but the trend still holding, longer term trend there using the modified DMI, still up. But next upside target, if it breaks those highs according to the Fibonacci projections, around about $137, $138, which is way more than the 20% that the analysts have been predicting. So that looks like the next upside. And if I just scroll down, let's just see where it thinks it's heading next. A bit closer to home next. We've got about $150 as the next target, and let's just put it down again, and then $172 as those upsides. Let's pull that in so you can see that a bit more clearly. And obviously support numbers, you know, things go wrong, you in long, where do you bail if it all goes wrong? Well, I think you're going to use these Fibonacci lines, $88, and then the key Fibonacci line there, $71, and then again like use that ladder on the way down. Volume at price there, you can see it's all bunched around that middle section. Not much building here at the moment, starting to peak out around $100, so maybe some sort of support in this zone as a base to break on upwards. So that's the longer term look there at the moment, bit more promising than some of the analysts predicting. Let's head into the shorter term with the with the Renko charts. So I've already been drawing on this one, as you can see, got a 5 block size. Again, go to the right hand side, you'll note the difference in the prices. Currently around the, let's call it the 390 level there on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Same sort of price shape, of course, and what can we take away from that? I've got some upside targets for you here. We got T1, T2, T3. Levels 425, 473, 497, and downside support 337, 316, 317 area. Both at the moment, the indicators at the bottom there, various stochastic combinations pointing bullish, and you can see trend, it's bounced from this Fibonacci line here at 316, another key number, 38.2%, before bouncing on up. And I've quickly converted the last chart to the US equivalent, BYDDY ticker, using a $1 block size for this one. As you can see, similar shape. We've got this bounce here at $81, pushing on up. We're looking probably to 116, 120 as our upsides, which was, you know, comparable to the analysts. And then moving further up, what have we got? We've got 125 and 135. That's more shorter term targets. Downsides, pull back into that 61.8 at $98, and then down to $91, $92. Different support levels. We've got that scoop of price action there where it could move quickly down to that sort of block there, like I said, around the early $90. Indicators also both bullish, indicating, you know, that the uptrend is intact, nicely building up. So it's got to get through, like I say, this Fibonacci line around 100, 102, and then off to new highs. So with that technical analysis looking a bit more encouraging in even the shorter term for the BYD price, maybe more towards the 130 mark. What does our Quant engine say it thinks, you know, will happen to the price over the next, you know, 1 month to 12 months in terms of price targets? So, well, let's have a look. So I fired the variables through the Quant model to come up with potential price targets over the next 1 month, 3 months, 6 months and 12 months. As you can see in the table here, we got a target price of 1 month, $110. That's using ticker BYDDY. We got a touch probability of about 51.5%. Over the next 12 months, we got $120, $130 and up to $140 after 12 months with a touch probability of 57.14%. So, there's a good chance that it can get to those outlier targets over the next year. So that sort of more ties in with the technical analysis that we looked at, that 130 to 140 area, and just a bit more, $10, $15, $20 more than the analyst's recommendations. So you join me inside my Tiger Brokers account. I think this is probably one of the best places to get access to Chinese companies, Chinese markets, globally. That is, they're available in the US. That's Tiger Brokers. That is Europe, Asia, Australasia, all over. I'll put a link into the description below if you want to check them out. But we're talking, platform for futures, options, stocks, on different markets. All the main markets that you'd want to trade are on this platform. So it's pretty decent. You could also maybe consider CFDs or spread betting. A lot of those bigger brokers would probably offer BYD as a play on leverage. But for me, I'm going to stick with the stocks. Now, BYD in the US is an ADR, which means it's like an OTC style small cap stock, American Depository Receipt. It has its limitations in terms of options trading, just due to its size and lack of liquidity. So another reason why something like Tiger Brokers is quite good, because you can then gain access to the Hong Kong equivalent and the options trading that it offers. So if you're in the US trading BYD on ticker BYDDY, then maybe just the outright play on the price. We know we've got 20 to 40% upside there, so it's still a good play over the next year. You want to get more involved, go to the Hong Kong side, and if I typed in BYDDY, you can see, even on Tiger Brokers, if you're in the US, you can get hold of that. But if we go to this guy here, which is 01211, that's the Hong Kong exchange ticker for it. We click on there, we can actually see that it's got warrants, options, even talks about the profile. A lot of information there for you to digest. Options, we've got a whole calendar here of different expiry dates and option scenarios that you could put together. I quite like the idea of running a straddle or a strangle on this one over the longer 6 month to 12 month period. We've got a good touch probability in the 50% there. So, and the other analysis, technical analysis there, shows it could quite likely get there as well. So maybe a straddle or strangle would be the best play if you've got, an inkling for that. It's reasonably volatile as well as a stock, so it's got some upside there if you want to put on an options trade there. Again, you might just want to play the outright here on the Hong Kong exchange, easy to do as well, or just take a long call, simple as that. Or you want to get a bit more sophisticated, maybe a bullish call spread where you buy the call at strike near the current price and sell a higher strike to offset the premium. Maybe 3 to 6 months expiry on that, for example, might be worth a look at. So there's some trade ideas there, but the easiest one to play is the sort of just outright buying the stock. So there you go. I think we've put that one to bed. BYD looking bullish over 2025. We've looked at the fundamentals, run some numbers through the Quant model, looked at the technical analysis, all looking very good. Global expansion ahead for BYD. Things that could derail, maybe the tariff situation still, trade war with China, Trump happenings that go on, surprises in there might torpedo their potential upside, but really they're got a great network in place, way they produce, manufacture, and the way they've integrated into the regional economies, Europe, that for example there. So Looks interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think you're bullish BYD? Where do you see them heading next? I'd like to know what you think. I say get your comments coming in. If you've liked today's video, please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell button notifications for other content I will be producing. If you want to learn more about the Renko charts that I use, how I put strategies together, you know, the quant model thinking, getting the right trading mindset, I've got a new book out on my own bookstore called the Renko Chart Trading Revolution. It's out now, and I'll put a link to that in the description below this. Definitely worth checking out if you're serious about getting an edge in the world of trading. So thanks for joining me. I hope to see you in the next video.